three are gathered together, we will never forget the opportunity to say the pledge of allegiance to our flag. May we raise and stand and remove our cover. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hoorah!
Is there something personal going on?
Very tight quarters.
You're supposed to have that 6-foot social space, Ron.
That's town out there.
I feel like I should be sitting.
There you go. Well, I want to thank you all for coming. We're privileged to have some West Cliff people that came over. Thank you so much for coming. That was the sacrifice, and we appreciate it.
Yes, indeed.
The bad news is, did anyone come from Howard? Is anybody from Howard? Well, those snakes.
They're in there.
Why don't you do something for the West Valley? Are you guys from Howard?
No, they're from Canyon.
Okay. Never mind. Go back eating.
Hi, Tom.
Enjoy your meal.
Sure. We'll do something for the West County. We want to have some fun over here. Come on, dude. So we do something, and guess what? We come and they don't. Anyway, they missed it.
But you really appreciate everybody that did show up.
I'm about to get to that.
Remember one reason why Custer's don't go.
Custer County had a very prominent citizen pass away this past week, and so the majority of them that would have probably shown up today are in favor. So with our thoughts and prayers to them in this time, thank you all for coming very much. We also want to thank you to the Texas Creek Breakfast Restaurant, Barry's Den, for hosting our day today. Thank you. Yes, we're privileged to have them give us this venue for it, and also the really best news is Wayne has graciously agreed to buy everybody's breakfast. Oh no! Well, excuse me, I'm sorry. He said that he was not going to speak today. Since he's running unopposed, he's going to just give back his time. I thought you meant this that he was never. So,
His speed reading worse than mine.
Kevin, are you going to auction off your hand sanitizer? You can pay.
I was going to bring a roll of toilet paper and paper.
oh Lord, are we in interesting times, folks? Interesting times. But we won't roll on that, and we'll be here all day. So it's my pleasure then to introduce our candidates that will all have 3 minutes to say hello and introduce themselves, and then we'll proceed with questions after that. So first, Kevin Grantham. Whoa. 3. Roxana is the timekeeper now.
When you see this, it means be quiet. I'll warn you at a minute out. No,
Well, welcome everyone. I won't take the entire 3 minutes. Thank you very much. I am Kevin Grantham. I'm running for County Commissioner, District 1. I have 24 years of business experience here in Southern Colorado, 22 in Canyon City and Fremont County as a real estate appraiser and in the real estate business. I spent 3 years on Canyon City Council and 8 years in the state senate. 2 of those years on the Joint Budget Committee and 2 years as the Senate President. I want to bring that experience back home. I want to bring that experience that I used up there, that I had the opportunity to learn during that process. I want to bring that back home for the benefit of the people of Fremont County and our neighbors to the south as well. Because we all work together when we're out here in rural Colorado, as I think our commissioner in the room knows. We have a partnership with those around us, especially when we're dealing with things going on at the state. And I think I bring a particular knowledge to the job when it comes to dealing with certain state issues. My job itself as an appraiser and in the real estate business also gives me some experience when it comes to zoning issues, regulation issues, land use issues, and I can bring that experience and expertise to bear as well. I want to be a pro-business ambassador for the people of Fremont County. I want to work on bringing back jobs into Fremont County. Good manufacturing jobs, with the contacts that I have, the ability I have to hopefully bring folks into County to create more jobs here. So that's basically the sum of it, and I hope I can earn your vote. And have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here.
Jim Moore passed on his regrets. He will not be able to attend today. He's concerned about the virus. So then we can move on to Dwayne McFall, Commissioner, to have a couple of words and say hello.
So good morning, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. So I am the current County Commissioner for District 3, which is, I'm going to get in front of the camera, which is, in my opinion, the best part. He's the one that he was directing me. The best part of the county because we're in it right here. Mark and Brandy do a wonderful job here, guys. This is the best place in the country. I stop here every chance I get. Don't tell my wife. She's not hungry for supper, but no, I'm a farm boy. I believe in God. I believe in guns. I thank God every day for the opportunity to serve Fremont County, and I'm blessed. I want to continue doing that. I am, thank God, running unopposed right now, but I want to continue doing what I'm doing for the folks of Fremont County, the whole county, not just the west end. But I enjoy working for people. Land issues get kind of contentious once in a while, but you got to weigh those out and do what's best for the county, which involves bringing back jobs or bringing in jobs, that type of stuff. And once again, I'm just blessed to be here. Thank you all. I am Dwayne McFall, Fremont County Commissioner, District 3, and I am up for re-election. I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Okay, and for our District Attorney, Tom Ledoux.
My name's Tom Ledoux. I'm running for District Attorney. I have to apologize. I'm moving a little slow. I broke 2 ribs last Friday, so I can't laugh, cough, burp, or take a deep breath. So I'll try to be as loud as I can. And I'm a little nervous sitting next to Ron. He's he needs to talk with his left hand and not his right hand. It'll be pretty painful if he bumps me right here. Anyway, I grew up in Canyon City. My family moved here when we were 4, so I've been here for 42 years now. Basically lived here my entire life. I went to law school at the CU School of Law in Boulder, and I came back, started my prosecution career in Pueblo, which is a great place to start. Lots of crime in Pueblo. It's a good place for a prosecutor to start their career. As soon as I had the chance, I came back to Canyon City, my hometown. Hometown of my lovely wife, Lacey Ledoux over there. She grew up here as well, and quite honestly, she's the politician. She knows everyone in town. Half the people that voted for me before voted for Lacey, not for me. So, but that's fair. Yeah. So as soon as I got back, as soon as we got the chance, we came back to Canyon City. That was in 2006. You elected me to be your district attorney in 2008. You re-elected me after a contentious primary campaign in 2012. Some of you are nodding. You remember that campaign. You re-elected me, and I had another successful 4-year term after that. I stayed with the office until June of last year, when Governor Polis saw fit to appoint a Democrat to be your district attorney. And at that point, I left the office. I'm still a full-time prosecutor. I was hired by Dan May, a Republican prosecutor in El Paso County. He quickly assigned me to the Teller County office. So I drive every day when I can drive, when I'm not medicated. I drive every day to Cold Creek to continue to prosecute. I think you need a district attorney with that kind of connection to this community and that kind of experience, going on 18 years of criminal prosecution. That's the type of district attorney that you need, that will actually be in the courtroom handling the most serious cases as well as some of the trivial cases. And I did both of those things in the 14 years that I was in the district attorney's office in the neighborhood judicial district. I'm asking for your support for another run at it, and with that, I appreciate you being here and taking the time to listen to all the candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Linda Stanley also running for district attorney.
Thank you. I'm Linda Stanley, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Nebraska and raised in Iowa. My dad is a former Marine, and I learned a lot of Midwestern values when I was there in Iowa, like hard work and loyalty and love for my country. My dad also taught me how to shoot. We would hunt a lot of the time and fishing. So I was a little bit of a tomboy, I guess. I moved to Colorado and started, I moved with the company I was working with. So I was driving a semi while I finished up my bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Metro State. Then I was a police officer. I also earned my master's degree in public administration, which is about running a government agency. And then I went to law school at DU. While I was at DU, I was president of the Criminal Law Association for 2 years. I was also president of Law School Students for the Right to Life, and I was vice president of student government. After I graduated law school, I did receive a job offer in Pueblo to be a prosecutor, and Tom is right, Pueblo's a good place to start, which is like crime affairs. And then after Pueblo, I became a hearing officer for the state of Colorado, and I recently resigned that job to run for district attorney here. Thank you.
Okay, and for HD60, Robert Disney.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Robert Disney. First off, no, I'm not related to Walt Disney. I don't have any relation to Walt. I don't get any kickbacks from the Disney enterprise, and that's why I'm accepting donations on my website, robertdisneyforhd60.com. All right, get that out the way early. I'm running for House District 60, and I believe that running for a House level House Representative or a state level House of Representatives office requires a great degree of both service and leadership, and I have an extensive history in both. I spent 21 years in the United States Air Force. During that time, I achieved the highest enlisted rank of Chief Master Sergeant in Pararescue, one of the most elite career fields, special operations career fields in the Department of Defense. I have a bachelor's degree in Homeland Security and Counterterrorism and a master's degree in Cybersecurity. I believe that I'm very, very well prepared to excel in public service. The reason that I'm running for public service, even though I retired in 2017 and have lived a good life here in Fremont County, just doing my retired thing, is because I genuinely want to lead and serve. I see an opportunity to make a difference. And I want to make a difference in the things that we see. I watch the news every day just like you do, and I'm often appalled by the things that I see. I see Democrats wanting to kill babies, wanting to execute them after they're born. I see them wanting to force our sheriffs to come and take guns without probable cause, with red flag laws. I see illegal immigrants crossing our borders and coming here and being given things that are free that other people work their entire lives for. I see homeless veterans on the streets who are not receiving those same benefits that our illegal immigrants are getting. And it disgusts me. And I truly want to make a difference, and I want to change that. The way that I'll do it when I get to Denver is by analyzing what the political landscape is there at the time. Have absolutely no doubt they have the majority. Democrats have a majority in both the House, our Senate, and our governorship. Last year they passed almost 500 bills. That's a conveyor belt of bills, just passing them by all day long. So standing back and watching them go by and saying, nope, not today, they're going to keep passing them. So I have to be willing to look at every single one of them and say, what can we in rural Colorado get today with that bill? Provided that bill does not violate our constitutional and fundamental beliefs, we can bring things back here to rural Colorado through negotiation and through diplomacy. And that's my intent. When I was in the military, we had a saying. It was, I've got your six. It means I'm watching your back. It means that you can go about your business without worry somebody's going to sneak up on you and take advantage of you. Have absolutely no doubt. You send me to Denver, I will have your back. And I will ensure that nobody ever takes away your rights to your property, your life, your liberty, or your pursuit of happiness. I'm Robert Disney, candidate for House District 60, and I've got your six. Thank you.
Ron Hanks.
Yes, good morning. Ron Hanks running for House District 60. I'd stand up, but Tom's real nervous.
Get out.
That's all right.
Stay over here.
It's a good fellowship here today. This reminds me of a couple places I ate when I was a kid. We'd go out hunting with a buddy of mine in Missouri, and then my uncle was a general contractor, and we'd always meet up at a place in North Idaho and go out and help him on the job. And so it's kind of nice to see friendly faces and get into conversation with you all again. I do know all of you. I'm running for House District 60. I put in 32 years active in reserve in the military. The reserve time gave me an opportunity to do some interesting things in my civilian life. I worked in the fracking industry, worked overseas in the ag and feed industries. All these were kind of interesting little side jobs for me, but my active duty, it all translated into 24 and a half years. I was an intel officer, I was an Arabic linguist, a lot of different things over the course of the time. I'm running here because I don't like the direction of the country. I am real nervous that we have gone socialist at the legislature. I've put some articles over there where I've laid it out. The Democrat Party has defined itself. They are the enemy, and I mean that as succinctly as I can, and read about it over there. The idea of negotiating with the enemy is contrary to every gut instinct I have. Our job for the next couple years, first off, is to gain as close to the majority as we can in the Senate and the House. And we may not do it in the first election here, 2020, but it's our best chance with Trump's coattails to close the gap. So I'm down to a minute. I want to tell you a couple things here. The format of this meeting today asked that each of the candidates submit a question that we would like to be asked. In truth, I waived that because time permitting, people can ask the question. I want to waive my time and let you ask it. And I'd ask you to reach out and talk to me about your concerns, your issues. In addition to my campaign literature, I've got some articles I've written. It explains how Romney failed America by negotiating and being a bipartisan enabler, and I will not do that. If it comes down to the Constitution or any liberty, I'm a solid no, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to drag my feet. I'm going to embarrass them. I'm going to take them on in the media, and that's the way we win. We network and find more conservatives, and we fight the battle. That's all. That's what this whole job is. Thank you very much.
Okay. These questions now are somewhat random as far as who gets them and when.
You missed Linda.
No.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Where was I?
I guess if I can remember what it was.
We'll try that again.
Sorry.
More coffee over here, please.
We'll review the video after the fact.
Sorry.
I told you I got Okay.
I kept thinking, I'm going to call
Okay, since she says,
because I did copy on several things and I kept getting whatever it is.
Linda Stanley, how are you going to do things differently if elected?
Well, if I'm elected, there's really a top three that I would try.
Excuse me, 1 minute. All these questions are 1 minute answers.
So, can I start over?
Yes. We won't dock you that 5 seconds.
Talk really, really fast. There's three main things that I think I would try to do a little bit differently, and that is, first of all, I'm going to represent the people. When I stand up and I say, Linda Stanley representing the people of the state of Colorado, I mean it, and I don't take it lightly. Secondly, I'm going to work with law enforcement. We are on the same team. We need to work together. And lastly, I'm going to try to retain good employees. If I can't get them money right away, then I'm going to give them something else, whether that's 4 10-hour days or flex time, working from home, possibly anything that I could do, an extra week of vacation that doesn't come off, things like that. These are things I learned from my graduate degree and master's in public administration. So those are the things that I'm going to try to do. as I get into office and change what some perceive the district attorney's office to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Grantham, describe your support of the Second Amendment and your relationship relating to the NRA.
Glad. Thank you, Richard. My 8 years up in the Senate, I had the opportunity to fight for our Second Amendment rights on a variety of fronts. In answer to the question, Richard, I am a lifetime member of the NRA. Also lifetime member of the Rocky Mountain Gun Owners and the National Association for Gun Rights. In 2010, in my first run for the Senate, received an AQ rating, which is A with a questionnaire. If you answer all the questions right, you get an AQ rating. If you don't have any prior voting record. In 2014, after the fights that we had up there for 4 years in the state Senate and the state legislature, I received an A rating from the NRA. I was a longtime sponsor, year after year, of the Make My Day Better law. If you're familiar with that, it's the Castle Doctrine for businesses, and many other things. Supporting constitutional carry, defeating the prohibition on concealed carry on campus, the manufacturer's liabilities. Many of those anti-Second Amendment bills were fought tooth and nail, and I'm out of time.
Thank you, Kevin. Tom Ledoux, why should a Republican be elected as a district attorney?
Well, that's a softball question. I mean, obviously Republicans should be elected district attorney, and obviously I feel that I'm a more qualified and more experienced candidate for district attorney. But if the Republicans of this community decide to put Ms. Stanley on the ballot in November, then I would encourage you to vote for Ms. Stanley as the Republican candidate. It needs to be a Republican and not the Democrat that's currently in office. You have elected a Republican for a million years to be your district attorney, and you deserve the right to have a Republican represent you in the district attorney's office. And no matter what happens, it's important that we get back to that in November 2020, not just at the district attorney's level, but at every level for our community. Also, I think it's important that you elect a Republican because Republicans care about the structure of the government as it's laid out in the Colorado Constitution, the United States Constitution, and Republicans believe in small, efficient government, working within your budget and giving these communities the due process and equal protection that they deserve within the amount of funding that they receive from the county commissioners. That's what I did when I was the DA, and that's what I'll do there in the DA. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Robert Disney, what are your 3 most important priorities if you are elected?
3 most important priorities when I'm elected is to take care of veterans, is to eliminate red flag laws and support the Second Amendment, and to ensure that we still have our First Amendment rights to public assembly, to freedom of religion, freedom of speech, which are even right now, as we sit here, under attack with all the with some of the coronavirus actions that are going on. Just because there's a national crisis does not mean that we usurp the United States Constitution, and there are ways to do this without and while protecting our rights. Thank you.
Linda Stanley, what are your 3 most important priorities if you are elected?
Well, I think my priorities would be, I'd like to get some trust back into the district attorney's office. I'd like to try to mend either relationships with law enforcement that may have been compromised during the last few terms. I would agree with Tom in that we need to have a Republican in office. If you choose not to have me as after the primary, then I would also encourage you to vote for Tom for that position. I do believe that he has more experience, obviously, than the incumbent at this point. One of my other goals is going to be to try to get higher salaries for those individuals that are working there at the district attorney's office. In order to do that, I need to, again, restore the confidence in our district attorney's office and try to show that I'm there to prosecute and I'm there to represent the people of this district.
Thank you. Mr. Hanks, notwithstanding your previous comment,
Which previous comment was that?
The one that you didn't really want to worry about submitting a question, but I'll ask you, what are your 3 most important priorities if you're elected?
Right. First priority would be protecting liberties, those not yet taken and those that they have usurped from us. My second priority would be protect citizen redress to tyranny, and what I mean by that is our rights to petition are being restricted, and they are working ways to increase the numbers of signatures required. They are putting safety clauses on bills that do not require safety clauses so that they cannot be petitioned by the public. And I would fight to limit the restrictions on petitions and to limit severely the safety clauses to where they actually are only used when the safety of citizens are at stake. The third would be spending. Kevin Grantham and I had a sidebar, and correct me if I got your numbers wrong, but Kevin was elected in 2010. He went to the session in 2011. The budget at that time was around $16 billion for the Colorado. It's now 34.5. That's too much. Let's pare it back and freeze it. So, red flag.
Thank you. Tom Ledoux, how do you expect to achieve what you are telling us you will do if elected?
Well, that's easy for me. It would be to draw on my experience as the elected district attorney for 8 years previously, and my entire career as a prosecuting attorney. And the fact that I live here and grew up here, I'm raising my family here. Being the district attorney is quite an honor because you get to serve and protect your friends and family. So I would draw on those experiences as well as my experience running the office successfully for 2 terms. And we would just go back in and do the same things we did in 2008 and 2012, where we had a successful district attorney's office that was respected by the community and law enforcement. We'll get back to that in 2020 when I'm elected district attorney.
Thank you. Mr. Disney, what do you consider to be your greatest strength and your greatest weaknesses as a candidate?
I think my greatest strength as a candidate is courage. Courage to do things that are right. Courage to say what needs to be said. The courage, I've heard it said, is the art of being the only one that knows you're afraid. Understand, being fearless is not being courageous. Courage is having everything stacked against you and feeling that and doing it anyway, doing the right thing anyway. Courage is what brings out integrity. Courage is what brings out your dignity, your ability to hold your head high when things are stacked against you, when everything is against you. I believe courage is my greatest strength as a candidate. I think my greatest weakness as a candidate is simply inexperience in public service. And I'm making this bid for it to be my first experience in public office. But I believe that weakness is offset by my long history in both service and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Kevin Grantham, what are your 3 most important priorities if you are elected?
Well, I think I mentioned most of those in my opening statement, that I want to accomplish, the things that I want to work on. I want to be a pro-business advocate. I want to look at how best we can bring jobs back to this county, fill up some of those empty manufacturing facilities that we have, put some jobs back, put people back to work here in the county and bring jobs into the county, new jobs. Also, with my expertise in real estate, I think I can have a good help with the zoning regulations, building codes. How can we make this an even better place? I think our current commission has done a great job of working on that, and I think I can only help more with that. The other thing is advocacy on the state level. I think I have experience up in Denver that helps with talking to some of these folks up there and being able to address how some of the things, I say some of the things, most of the things that they do up there is only harmful to rural Colorado. Their one-size-fits-all approach does not help us down here, and I think that I bring that expertise to bear and would like to help.
Thank you. Linda Stanley, how do you expect to achieve, and what plans have you made to achieve your plans for your office if you're elected?
Could you repeat the question?
Well, I did a little ad-libbing here, so how do you expect to achieve what you're telling us that you will do if elected?
Well, one of the first things I'm going to need to do is meet with the county commissioners, meet with the people that work for the district attorney's office, meet and speak to law enforcement, and I think once I put that plan on the table to speak with everyone and let them know where I stand on these issues, what I'm planning on doing, then we can all move forward after that. I know that Thomas talked a lot about his experience, and I wouldn't discredit any of his experience. He has a lot more experience than I have. But I think what we need to ask ourselves is experience enough? And are you satisfied with that experience? Were you satisfied with those terms in office for Tom? Because if you weren't, then the experience really doesn't count. So I'm going to meet with the people that are working there now. I'm going to meet with the county commissioners in every county. I'm also going to meet with law enforcement in every county and get everybody on the same page so that we can start moving forward and changing what the perception is of that office in this district.
Thank you. Tom, what are your 3 most important priorities if you're elected?
Well, like I said, we would just get back to where we were before, where we had a stable staff of good attorneys that were working hard for this community. I was in court, working hard for this community, trying cases at the felony level and handling cases at the misdemeanor level. So the first thing I would do is get back into the courtroom here in Fremont County and the rest of the 11th Judicial District and stabilize the staff. There's been a ton of turnover, particularly recently, so that would be important for me. And then it would be having an open door for law enforcement to come in and making sure that what I would do is focus on the district attorney's office to make sure that we're providing the highest quality of work that we can by focusing inward to make sure that myself and the attorneys were doing the best that they can do in the courtroom for you, and then allowing law enforcement to do the work that they need to do. It's each player in the criminal justice system has their own role, and they need to be able to rely on the other parties to play their role. So I would focus on the role of the district attorney's office, prosecuting the investigations that are sent to our office in court.
Thank you. Kevin, how do you expect to achieve what you're telling us you'll do if you're elected?
Well, it's through partnership with other elected officials, through folks in the community. As we know, the commissioners are a team of 3, and so if we want to do anything, we have to bring someone else along with us in order to get that done. A lot of this happens in conjunction with other elected offices and things that have to be done, but I think when we look at some of the broader issues, such as business, such as advocacy on the state level, this is about relationships and working with commissioners, working with other elected officials, working with our community, working with other governments even within the county, Canyon City in particular, and Florence. We have to get back to the table and start talking about a county building authority and what we can do there. If it's not a possibility, I see someone shaking their head. We have the opportunity to at least have the discussion. I remember those discussions back when I was in city council. So we have to be able to have those relationships and be able to talk to people to get those things done.
Thank you. Right hand, same question. How do you expect to achieve what you're telling us to do if you're elected?
Well, because what I will do is vote against takings every time, always. And what I mean by that is taking of liberties, taking of monies, taking of any rights for property. Part 2 is networking. We have to network and find hard conservatives to fight this socialist enemy. And we have to fight them on the immediate term, we have to fight them on the short term, and we have to fight them on the long term. We have to find networks of people that will stand in coalition and not have anybody go Mitt Romney on us and go bipartisan and lose our liberties because a Republican voted for it. So that's what that's how I achieve the goals. It's going to be a long fight. Trump will help us in 2020, and then we're on our own after that. We've got redistricting in 2022. We better have some hard conservatives and some good networks built, because the districts are going to change and the players are going to change.
Thank you, Ron. Mr. Disney, same question. How do you expect to achieve what you're telling us you'll do if you're elected?
Thank you, Richard. At the pinnacle of my career, I led all combat search and rescue assets in the entire theater of Iraq and Syria. I was a group chief. I had personnel at 3 separate bases, and it was a resource-averse environment. And I had to be able to bring things in. Nobody was standing, people were not standing in line to hand me resources and hand me services. I had to go out and I had to convince people to be willing to give me those and to help me out with those. So as a candidate, or as a representative for our House, I intend to educate, negotiate, and legislate. I'll educate those who are proposing bills that are against our values out here in rural Colorado. I will negotiate to attempt to bring back liberties to us, and then I will legislate the best that I can to make laws that make sense for rural Colorado. That's what I intend on doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now the only order now, we will start at the far end with Linda. You have 2 minutes to say your closing statements for yourself.
Okay, I want to say thanks for everyone coming today. Thanks for listening and somewhat participating in today's events. I'm open for any questions. I do have a website up. It's stanley4da.com. I also have a Facebook page. If you just search under Vote Stanley, you'll find it. And I would appreciate you looking at that, sharing all of those with your friends and neighbors. And again, there's a way to contact me on that site. There's also my phone number. It's my personal cell. Call it if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer. But again, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to say thank you to Richard Roxana for setting this up as House District 60 Chair and Vice Chair Secretary. I want to say thanks to Dallas, Linda, Jimmy for coming over from Custer County. Ed, I don't know if I need to thank you or not, but I am glad you're here. I don't know what more I can tell you that you haven't already heard, other than I will hold the line against this leftist onslaught. When Bernie Sanders won 36% of the Democrat vote in Colorado, they defined themselves, and we have got to amp up our opposition and find the networks that work. I'm building a good network, have some announcements coming in the weeks ahead. It's going to be a battle, and I do think we need to be very stalwart in our defense of liberties here. I don't see the negotiation tactic as being the direction that's going to help Fremont County, Custer County, Chaffee or Park counties. We have to hold the line and toe the line as far as I'm concerned. And I'm working now to find good representatives that are going to be in the House that I'll be standing shoulder to shoulder with, that will be part of the network that first dials me in, gets me up to speed as rapidly as possible as a fighting conservative, and then we will work together on the legislation that we will try to implement. But never forget, they don't have to talk to you at all. If they got the majority they've got, they can tell you to go stand in the hall, and there's no negotiation going on. They've got the majority. Let's get the majority back, and this is the year to get it close. So Ron Hanks, running for House District 60, thank you for coming out. This is a fellowship of stalwart Republicans, and I'm grateful to see all of you folks here every time, so thanks.
Thanks, Ron.
You know, I want to talk about something that Ms. Stanley mentioned, which was how the district attorney's office is perceived by the community. And quite frankly, if you want to elect someone to be a district attorney who's going to focus on or care about how the district attorney's office is perceived, you should not vote for me. District attorney is a little bit different than the legislative branch, some of these other offices people are running for. in that you're not elected to make the popular decision. You're elected to make the right decision under the law, under the Constitution and the law in Colorado. So a district attorney who's just going to pick up the phone and call and say, you know, what do you think I should do, community? That's not the district attorney you want. You want a district attorney that's going to look at the law and look at a case and say, what's the right thing to do for this community? What is the right thing for me to do as the person elected by these people to represent them as the district attorney? You know, checking the polls and doing what's popular in the polls, that's Bill Clinton stuff. That is not what I would do. That's not what I did as the district attorney, and that's not what I will do as the district attorney. So it's not about how the community is perceiving the district attorney's office. It's about making the right decision. Now, how do you do that? You know the law, you have experience, you know the law, you have experience working with the law, you know the community, you have experience working in the community, you've handled dozens and dozens of cases in court in front of juries. You know how they will handle a case, you've worked with the judges in the community, and you make the right decision for the community. Damn what the popular opinion is going to be about that decision. Not all of the decisions I made as a district attorney were popular. That's true. There are lots of people that will criticize things that I did. But I made the right decision for the community based on my extensive experience working with the law and working in this community. And again, if you want to hire someone to be your district attorney that's just going to care what other people think you should do, then don't elect me to be your district attorney. If you want to hire a district attorney that's going to take your best interests in mind and do the right thing, you should hire me. I went to the doctor. He told me I can't be on my bike for 6 weeks. I don't just go find another doctor because I don't like his opinion. I go back to my doctor because he knows what he's doing. He's been my doctor for years and he's a damn smart guy. And I'm going to follow his advice. That's who you want to be your district attorney, a guy like my doctor. That's the kind of district attorney I was and the kind of district attorney I will be. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Mr. Grant. Well, how to follow. My name is Kevin Grant, and I am running for county commission. And I'd ask for your vote. I believe I have the experience necessary to do this job. I think it's good experience that will be put to use for the people of Fremont County. I have the sensibilities and the values of rural Colorado because I was born and raised in rural Colorado. I represented Fremont County and many of the other counties around this area for 8 years up in Denver. I still believe that more government equals less freedom, less government equals more freedom. And that happens on every level of government, from the federal all the way down to our local water boards, rec boards, and county commissions. I think I can bring a whole lot to bear when it comes to what we can do for Fremont County. And I look forward to putting my experience, proven conservative leadership, to work for the people of Fremont County. Thank you.
Sure. I'm running because I truly believe that I'm the best candidate for this office. I like my opponent, generally. I do. No, I do. I think he's a great guy. And I'm running my campaign on honor, dignity, and integrity, the same core values that I expect from my own conduct in my daily life. Honor, dignity, and integrity means that I don't attack my opponent. I think Ron's a fine man. I do. I just firmly believe that my experience, education, leadership, and judgment makes me the better candidate for this office. I intend to lead, negotiate, educate, and legislate. And I certainly need your vote so that I can do that. I'm Robert Disney, candidate for House District 60. And I've got your 6. Thank you.
Okay.
Against yourself?
Somebody have a mirror?
Where's that camera?
Okay, go ahead. Yes, Rick.
When you're all done, can I have a minute?
Sure.
When you're done.
Sorry.
Actually, I have just a couple closing comments, so if you have something you'd like to share with us, please, go ahead. I'm not done yet.
Well, finish the...
Okay. let's take a couple of minutes now to see what kind of questions we have from the audience to anyone that's been our guest and the candidates that we have. If you have something to ask that you would like an answer to that we haven't already covered, please do. So the floor is open for questions. Anyone with a question, raise your hand.
Make it hurt.
Okay, Rick, you have a minute then.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate everybody coming here also. We are going to, the Lord willing, and even though Governor Polis thinks he has the control, God is in control of what's going on.
Make no mistake.
We are going to have another candidate forum a week from today at headquarters, downtown Canyon City, Republican headquarters. Chili dinner and bean dinner at 4 o'clock, and then the candidates at 5. Yes, 5. Just one. And I think the last time we had like 40 or 50 there. With what's going on now, I hope we have at least that many again. But we are going to try and hold the forum. So that's all I have. If anybody needs any of these, I have a few extra.
Thank you, Rick. Yes, ma'am.
Can I just ask Rick a question?
Surely.
I'm not running. Answer the question.
Is there any, is County Assembly, Fremont County Assembly going to happen?
Somehow